Make sure it's uploaded. Share it real quick. Let's see. Count. Okay. What is good, YouTube? It's your boy Aaron.
It's Brian.
And this is the Courtside View Podcast. And we are back today and we reacted to week 1 of the NFL season. Let's get a round of applause. Let's get a round of applause. Football is finally back. NFL. I enjoy college football, but this is the main event. This is the main course. This is the entree we've been waiting for. And there's so much that we can go to, but let's start off with our biggest surprises. Brian, what are some of the biggest surprises that you witnessed from this past week?
The past week, I will say for biggest surprises, I gotta go with the Bengals. The
Mm,
Bengals, well, I didn't expect them to lose. I expected them to be rusty. I expected them to not have the rhythm on the offense to be a little wonky. But the Patriots, they was repping on them. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, oh my. I mean, but it's the early season Bengals. We've seen this story the past couple seasons, so it was too surprising. But I didn't. I knew the Indianapolis Colts was going to be decent. I didn't expect that game to come down to the wire like it did against the Texans. And Anthony Richardson, he wasn't perfect by all any means, but daggone it, he made some plays.
mhm,
And sometimes football isn't always about who's the most consistent throughout the game. It's about who can make the biggest three biggest plays. And daggone it, Anthony Richardson was close. The 60-yard bomb down the field off the back foot. Are you kidding me? That's just insane. And a lot of plays was left on the field too. That game could have went a completely different direction if 2 or 3 plays happened the way it was supposed to.
mhm. Yeah, yeah. You're right. You're right. That one throw to AD Mitchell
Hmm.
towards the end zone. If he would have hit that would have changed the whole dynamic of the game. The thing with Anthony Richardson is he's a fantastic deep ball thrower down the middle, but when it comes to sideline to sideline, when it comes to I think it was is it east and west, he ain't the best. He ain't the best. We saw the preseason. Middle of the field, deep ball. Hey, that's his game. But east to west, it's a wrap. It's difficult for him. So he impressed me. His arm talent, he's up there. He has one of the strongest arms in the NFL. So seeing him do that I wasn't necessarily surprised, but I will say it's impressive. I will the highlight we saw the highlight on Twitter on
Hmm.
Instagram where they show it in slow motion, and he throws it so high in the air, like I think the football is out of the camera at one point. Like that's how high he threw it in
Yeah.
the air, and it was a straight bomb. Here's my surprises. I do agree with you on the Bengals point because
Oh,
although
I got
it's
one more. I got one
yeah,
more.
go right ahead. I'll let you cook.
The Atlanta Falcons.
Oh
I
yeah.
wasn't in Maryland the time the game was going on, but I was in Atlanta, so I got to see it on the local channel. And my word, Kirk Cousins looked bad, like ski mask type bad. But apparently, after further review, after people broke down the film and everything, they said he can't plant his foot in the ground and deliver a throw, which is bad.
Concerning.
Now, I'm not sure if the Falcons, now you're really starting to wonder, why didn't the Falcons want to play Michael Penix in preseason games? And it's like they were trying to keep this whole thing to see. No one in camp saw that he couldn't plant his foot and make a throw. Why do we have to wait until week 1 of the season against a top 10 defense that the Steelers have to see that the man can't plant his foot and and deliver a throw. I don't know. That was. I thought the Falcons were going to come out much harder than that, but you drop game one at home against the Steelers, who starting Justin Fields for crying out loud. Then next week you got the Eagles on Monday night. Then I think after that you got
The Chiefs is the
the
Chiefs.
Chiefs. Yeah, the Chiefs.
Oh my God.
And I think they got to play the Niners too in
Yeah, they
these.
got a
It's
rough
very possible they
four.
start off 0-5. Very
Yeah,
possible.
yeah.
So I
That
don't know if you're the Falcons, do you just like, man, I gotta salvage, just throw Michael Penix out there because we need something, and whenever Kirk is ready to play, we could throw him back in there. But because if you start off 0-5, your season pretty much over.
if they start off 0-5, then yeah, that's a good point.
Because
That's a
you got to
tough
do something. You
conversation.
can't trot Kirk. He literally can't move.
Yeah, he
You
can't
got to
move.
do
He's a
something.
statue, but he's always been a statue though. That's the thing. Like Kirk
But
Cousins
it's
has always been a
even worse
statue.
now.
Yeah,
At
yeah.
least
I
he
mean,
could
coming back from
make some
Achilles.
throws.
Are you sure? I don't think, because what I heard was that it's not that he's not hurt at all. It's just coming back from that significant of an injury. Maybe it's still in his head. Maybe he doesn't have the confidence yet to really believe that his Achilles is okay. So that could probably be what's going on. The the whole idea of him not being able to plant his foot, like that is concerning, but I think a lot of it might be just mental and he just needs to get over it somehow, some way. I that's one of the teams that I was very surprised with the Falcons, because I thought they were going to be more electric. The first drive before they eventually, I think they either kicked the field goal or punted it. For a lot of that first drive, they looked really well. Like they were very in sync. B. John was running the ball effectively. Kirk Cousins was dialing up the defense. I was like, oh, okay. I see the difference between Arthur Smith and with was it Zach Robinson? I see the difference. And then all of a sudden, punt, field goal, interception, disaster happened, and it was just a disaster. Part of that is because Kirk Cousins didn't play in the preseason. He didn't get any reps in the preseason, and this is going to be an oncurring theme when it comes to a lot of these teams. When you don't play your quarterback in the preseason, when you don't play the starters in the preseason, you come out that first week of the season, y'all are rusty, y'all are flat, and just like with the Bengals, just like with the Falcons, y'all need to get some reps. Like just doing 7-on-7, 11-on-11 in practice is not going to cut it. Like you need some live game reps. And with the Falcons, you could tell that they weren't ready. They had Michael Penix in the preseason get most of the snaps, most of the plays, and Kirk Cousins was just chilling on the sideline. So a lot of these players, they go from a left-handed quarterback in Michael Penix to a right-handed quarterback in Kirk Cousins, and it's a completely different feel, dynamic, and that's just the way it is. And Michael Penix, he can move, while Kurt, he can't move. Like you said, he's a statue. Yeah, we'll see how it goes, but they still have weapons. I still believe in this offense. B. John
Kyle Pitts got
Robinson
a
ran.
touchdown for crying out loud. When was the last
Hey,
time we seen that?
hey, good sign, right? My thing is, and this is why I didn't draft Drake London, is I think Drake London is talented, but I don't know. I don't know if he's ready to be a number one. I got to see it to believe it. I got to see it to believe that he can run routes consistently, and he's not just a jump ball, a slant, and a I forgot what other route he runs, but like, can he run the full route tree? Is what I'm gonna say. And can he separate? Is another thing. I don't know. I don't know. And he had Desmond Ritter, so we really couldn't get a sense of, is he a good receiver or not. Well, now you have Kirk Cousins. Now we can really see, all right, can you live up to the bill? Because a lot of I know it's fantasy, but they had him projected as, was it the 10th best receiver? No, excuse me. In the second round, I think maybe the 10th best receiver. So, hey, the fantasy people have high hopes for
No
him.
reach.
So I mean, hey, we gotta see it. But yeah, the Falcons were a big surprise for me. Another surprise for me was you already mentioned the Bengals. My thing with the Bengals is like I was watching a little bit of the film. The offensive line is still a question mark. Like it's been a
Mm,
question mark ever since Joe Burrow has been in the league. Like they're drafting linemen, they're acquiring offensive linemen in free agency, and yet it's still a question mark. And what I saw from the offense, it was a lot more reserved. Like it was a lot of short, intermediate routes. They couldn't throw the ball down the field vertically. There was not a whole bunch of deep passes that I seen. So maybe it's just week one jitters, but overall, the offense just felt very predictable. It felt like the Patriots knew exactly what they were trying to do. They didn't. The Patriots defense never felt like they were rattled or scared. Like there was no
mm.
fear from the Patriots defense at all. It felt like, okay, we'll allow you to get this 5 yard route. We'll allow you to get this curl route. But guess what? You're not going to throw the ball 30 plus yards down the field. So why should we feel afraid about your team, even with Jamar Chase and the wide receiver they drafted out of Alabama? Like these guys, and no T Higgins as well. That's another thing. That's a big loss. But overall, just the offense, it just didn't feel dynamic at all. It didn't feel very. There was no verticality to it, and they suffered. And that's probably the reason. I think they only scored 7 points. Yeah, like when you can't throw the ball down the field 30 plus yards and you're just resorting to 5 yard, 15-yard routes, it's going to be very
They scored
easy
10
for the
points.
defense. 10 points with Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase. Like it's just going to be very easy for the defense to key in on you, and that's really what it was to me. They normally do this every year, but the fact that they continuously do this against a team that a lot of us thought was probably going to be in the running for the number one pick it's unacceptable. It really is. It wasn't even a division opponent. It was just another, a team in the AFC that was really looking to. If this was like Pittsburgh, I could understand it, but come on now, like the Patriots, it's not the same Patriots with Bill Belichick. I don't get it.
It's
There
true.
was another team. There was another team. Oh, matter of
I
fact,
got a
it's not
couple.
even necessarily teams. It
It's
it
a
was the
person,
rookie.
ain't it?
It
Yeah.
was the
Caleb
rookie.
Williams, wasn't it?
It was all so the rookie QBs. I was surprised at how awful they looked.
Mm.
I understand the rookie QBs, so there is going to be that learning process. But man, the fact that this QB draft was projected to be one of the best in recent memory, and they came out just flat like that was surprising to me. Like I looked at Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams performances, and I was completely shocked. I was like, wow, they look overwhelmed. Caleb Williams, I will say with Caleb Williams, his problem is a mechanical issue. It's not necessarily that he couldn't see the field because he actually was going through his progressions fairly well, but he was missing throws.
Mm.
Like you can't be missing throws, like easy throws. Like there was just times where I'm like, wow, like when I saw you at USC, you weren't missing throws like that. And NFL comes around and the type of throws you need to hit, he can't hit them. And then also, sometimes he would make the wrong type of throw, like sidearm throw. Like, come on, you can't do that. Not at the red zone area. You cannot do a sidearm throw. I get it. The pass rusher is right in your face after like a second and a half, but you can't do a sidearm throw. That's not going to work. And his passes kept getting batted down. Sounded like a former Bears quarterback.
Mm.
He's with Pittsburgh now. Justin Fields. Yeah, it sound like Justin Fields. Keep getting his passes batted down by the pass rush. It's very funny. But yeah, mechanical issues with Caleb Williams. I think his issue can be easily corrected because he's still doing a really good job of reading defenses. He's going through his progressions. He's not a one read and go type of guy. Now let's get to Jaden Daniels. Now this dude right here, I don't know what is going on with him. This is scary. Like there will be, I posted in the group chat. he would literally go through his progressions, see that the receiver is open, and like, oh, I'm gonna go to the next. I'm gonna go to the next read. I'm like, bro, he's wide. He's open. I'm not gonna say wide open, but he's open right there. You gotta pull the trigger, and he's just like, nope, I'm not gonna do it. I'm like, why? Like there, and then remember, the play. It was a play action, and I think Terry McLaurin and another receiver were it was like a deep ball, it was a deep ball pass. And Terry McLaurin beat his man. I think it was towards the middle of the field. And Jaden Daniels didn't pull the trigger. I'm like, why? Like, what are you doing? And yeah, I mean, there was one clip on Twitter. I wasn't able to see it, but somebody said that they say that Jaden Daniels didn't know the play. He was looking one direction, but the receivers were running the other direction.
Mm-hmm.
He was overwhelmed. You could tell. There was one time where, and this was one of his flaws coming in, the fact that when he's moving on the run, he doesn't throw the ball. Like he'll just try to scramble. So
He's not keeping his eyes downfield.
so there was so the pass rush was coming. He evaded the pass rush. The receivers were still doing their thing, going through the routes. I think Terry McLaurin, he just kept running. He stopped and then ran again. And I think the corner fell, and Jaden Daniels was, he was running whatever, and he could have threw Terry McLaurin the ball after the corner fell, and that could have potentially been a touchdown, but he just elected to scramble. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Just throw the ball. That was one of the concerns from LSU, and it has shown itself in the National Football League. He needs to just stop hesitating and pull the trigger. Like there are times where you need to realize that open is like this. It's close. Like it's open is not going to be wide open. Pause. It's a very small window.
NFL open.
You gotta pull the trigger. If not, then you can't start in the league. I'm sorry. And he looks so nervous out there. I get the rookies. I'm not gonna abandon ship like some other Commanders fans out there that weren't even Jaden Daniels, didn't want Jaden Daniels to begin with. I'm not gonna do that, but it's concerning. It's not like with Caleb Williams where his issue is mechanical. With Jaden Daniels, it is a can are you seeing the field? Are you trusting your eyes?
Mm.
That's something that's going to be hard to correct, but they're going to see film. Hopefully Cliff Kingsbury and the quarterback coach can just tell him, like, look, you got to trust what you're seeing. You got to pull the trigger. You cannot be hesitant on your looks because that's just the way of the NFL. The speed, that's another thing. The speed of the game was overwhelming the rookie QBs. You could tell. Like it was, I was watching the film and yeah, around 2 seconds, they was like, whoa. They were like, oh, dude, the pass rush already here after 2 seconds. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, that's how it goes. Well, Caleb, and then final point when it comes to big surprises. Obviously, I want to go back to Caleb Williams because everybody is crowning Caleb Williams like, oh, he's going to be the next great quarterback in the league. See, this is the thing with these. You cannot crown them too early. He's a rookie QB. He's going into a situation. What I tell you, Brian, I said it on the prediction show for the Chicago Bears. I said their offensive line, besides Tevin Jenkins and Darnell Wright, everybody else is suspect. That center for the Bears is garbage. He was getting bullied. He was getting pushed around. The guard play getting pushed around. And what happened? The interior was getting cooked every time. And Caleb Williams had to keep evading. He had to keep running around, spinning around, try to evade him. And that was a lot of the reason why they weren't able to get a whole lot of offense going. And Caleb Williams was all hesitant a lot of times because of that pressure in the middle. And That's going to be a concern going forward. And I knew this coming in. This was the same thing that was happening with Justin Fields, and now Caleb Williams has to deal with it too. 93 yards passing. Next week, you cannot have another 93 yards passing. That is unacceptable. And you can't miss your throws either. Now, Romo Dunze, he's going to be out. So now it's just Keenan Allen and it's your man's DJ Moore. You got to figure out a way to get them the ball, because if not, then the curse of the Chicago Bears QB, it's gonna be some talks. It's gonna be some talks. After
I do have one more surprise.
Go right ahead.
I just want to say I am truthfully sorry for Carolina Panthers fans. I expected y'all to not be good this year. We ain't expect y'all to be a playoff team, but 47-10 game winners against the Saints.
Damn, yeah.
I just feel bad for those. I was like, wow, they're getting floored. Like they got ran. It was terrible.
Yeah.
They made Derek Carr look like he was in his 2018 with the Raiders. That was man. And the crazy thing is, I don't even know. That was just bad. That was bad.
I was shocked. I was shocked at how lopsided
Bryce Young looked terrible still.
Man, I had high hopes for him.
Dave Canales, Godspeed, brother, because J.C. Horn out there getting cooked.
Oh man.
Derek Brown hurt now too.
Yeah.
One of the few bright spots. Now he injured. Yeah, Dave. Y'all should be calling for Dave Tepper's position. I would say that.
Yeah, I was.
That was unacceptable. Unacceptable.
I was surprised. I was very surprised. You know, me and you, we were, I would say, more high on Bryce Young than majority of the people. I wasn't ready to necessarily give up on Bryce Young. You know, some people think he's trash. I didn't think he was necessarily trash. I just thought that he was surrounded by an unfair just disadvantage. He didn't have much to work with, and now they invested more into him, and they brought in a offensive coach, and it seems like nothing much has changed at all. I saw a post on Twitter that talked about Dave Canales' system, and another thing, Baker Mayfield. So like Baker Mayfield, right? The previous year, Dave Canales' system. They said the QB doesn't have a whole lot of control in his system. And one of the things that's different when it comes to Baker Mayfield and the Bucs this year, and you noticed it in the game, Baker Mayfield had more control in the line of scrimmage. Like, one thing I noticed is that pre-snap, whenever he would do a hard count, and let's say the Commanders player jumps and they're looking like they're about to blitz, he's able to audible a receiver to do whatever route he wants to. Last year, I don't think he had that control. With Bryce Young, I don't know if that's the same situation, but I just wanted to let you know that because I saw that on the post, and I just thought it was very interesting. The fact that Baker Mayfield didn't have a whole lot, he didn't have a whole lot of control from the line of scrimmage, and because of Dave Canales' system. And we see with Baker Mayfield, even without Dave Canales, he threw for 4 touchdowns, albeit against the Commanders. 4 touchdowns is 4 touchdowns.
That is true.
Yeah. I'm trying to it was big surprises, and then I think it was let's just say, what were you most impressed by?
Camera's not focused.
Oh, camera's not focused.
Okay, you good now.
Okay. What are you most impressed by? Who are you most impressed by?
Most impressed.
Yeah.
Honestly, it was a good slate of games, but none of these teams really like wowed me in terms of performance.
Okay.
Like they could have been good in some aspects, and in other aspects, it was just like little more left to be desired. Um, some standouts. I mean, I guess. I mean, the Chiefs. I mean, Baltimore's a good team. We all know this. Even that game wasn't all perfect
Oh,
or anything like that. I mean, a lot of plays left on the field and penalties and everything like that. Um, the Packers and Eagles game. I mean, they were slipping all over the field. Uh, turnovers. The defenses is just getting torched on both ends. I will say the Cowboys defense did impress me. I didn't expect. I saw major differences between Dan Quinn's system and Mike Zimmer's system in just one game. Linebackers was flying all over the field, flying to the ball. Everyone's ready to hit. The gap integrity. The players actually knew like they was doing their job instead of just trying to get upfield every single play. I will say the Bills. I mean, I know the Cardinals. They're still the Cardinals, respectfully. But I thought the Bills. I didn't think the Bills had 34 points in them. I ain't gonna lie. But Josh Allen, when you have an elite QB like Josh Allen, I mean, stuff we gonna make something happen. Even they didn't have a perfect game or really a really good game for their standards. But yeah, I mean, I look around the league and it's just like eh, it's a little early to tell. I'm not really like super impressed with either of these teams. I must say the 49ers, those freaking 40, you
I
like as
know,
soon as
I
you think you see
know.
a crack, they just get like a freaking they get the cement truck and just repave the whole thing. CMC gets out, gets declared out before the game starts, and then Jordan Mason comes in the game and rushes for 151 yards. What? Come on, man.
Shanahan special. It's the Shanahan special, man. They find these running backs, they fit the system, and they play well. It pisses me off every time. Jeff
And the
Wilson 1
defense,
year.
even without Dre Greenlaw, they still playing top tier football. I can't stand the 49ers. I really can't. And the offense was looking shaky. Like Brandon Ayuk and Purdy left a lot of plays on the. They left a few plays on the field. That touchdown he dropped when he tried to dive for it. Ayuk.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody got to put a stop to these dudes.
Detroit Lions, man. Detroit
I,
Lions. They the ones that gonna put a stop
they
to
having
it.
they going down to the wire with the freaking Rams. I mean,
Hey,
Rams
don't
aren't a bad
disrespect the
team.
Rams.
They aren't a bad team, but if you look, you should have. The Lions should have low key floored them. I'm not gonna lie. Amon-Ra St. Brown, he had 15 yards.
Yeah, 15 yards. Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
it is
we
first
gonna have to
week
see.
jitters. First week jitters.
Honestly, the first week of the season kind of like the preseason because
It
a lot
is.
of these teams they're not even playing their QBs in the preseason. So this really the first time you've seen the first team offense on the field for a lot of teams. So this
Mhm.
like the Jaguars didn't look good on offense.
No. Well, they look good for like the first half, and the second half rolled around. They just stopped throwing the ball. Trevor Lawrence only had 7 passes in the second half. Like what the
The,
hell?
the
7
Dolphins
passes?
wasn't looking that good in the run game. Achan, I think he had 6 rushing yards.
Yeah, yeah.
I
So
just think
so
it's like
so
the
let
preseason.
me spin it. So what's a player that impressed you?
A player that impressed me.
Yeah, one player that impressed you.
J.K. Dobbins had a really nice rushing day.
Yeah, he did.
I wasn't expecting that, especially after all the injuries he's amassed over the few seasons. I didn't expect that personally. Another person I would say, let me think. Let me think.
Mhm. I got a name.
Go ahead, go. You go, you go.
Uh, it's from the game. My team, the team that the Packers versus the Eagles, Saquon Barkley.
Oh,
Yeah, like 3 touchdowns, over 100 yards rushing. Yeah, I was impressed with Saquon. A receiving touchdown. I didn't expect him to do all that. I knew Saquon was still a good running back. I knew he was going to be good for the Eagles, but I didn't expect this. I didn't expect, oh, he's back to being a top 5 running back type of production. I didn't see this at all. So I was very impressed with Saquon. He was the driving force of that offense. Even when Jalen Hurts was stinking up the joint, Saquon Barkley was cleaning up all his mess. It was he was the most valuable player of that Eagles offense, that Eagles team that day. And I was thoroughly impressed. I'll give you another name. I already mentioned it before, but I'm gonna mention it again. Baker Mayfield, 4 touchdowns. I was a bit skeptical because you lose Dave Canales, you bring in a new OC, albeit the OC he was from the Rams tree at one point. So, but I was still a little skeptical. It's a new offense, new OC. We have to see. And man, he was dialing it up, dime after dime. It did not matter. The Commanders were having trouble trying to tackle him. Like they would be close to tackling him, be close to sacking him, and all of a sudden he evades it, and he diming it out to Chris Godwin. He's diming it out to Jalen McMillan. He's diming it out to Mike Evans. I'm like, damn. Like, is anybody going to sack this man? And they couldn't do it. And he was just diming, man. Salute to Baker Mayfield, dude. Salute to him because he's come a long way. Like there was a time where he was perceived as a backup QB, a really, really good backup QB.
That is true.
He goes to the Panthers. They were pretty much writing his coffin, writing. They were just leaving him there for dead. But then all of a sudden he gets traded to the Rams. He has a couple of good games, and then he goes to the Buccaneers. He beats out was it Kyle Trask or somebody, some trash QB, and he has a resurgence. He has a really, really good year. He makes the playoffs and wins a playoff game, and then now all of a sudden, the QB that the Browns needed, guess what? You let him go. You let him go. Now who has the last laugh? It's Baker Mayfield. He looked like a top 5 QB this past week.
Yeah, QB play wasn't all that great. I'll tell you that much.
No, it wasn't.
I got 3 players for you.
Yeah,
one player I got is Isaiah Likely. He came in tight end 2 on the Ravens. People didn't really weren't really high on him. Most people didn't even know who the heck he really was. He showed y'all something Thursday. Had 100-some yards, almost 2 touchdowns. If his foot was like a size and a half smaller, but Isaiah Likely came in and played some good. People was like, Mark Andrews, who? They was looking for Mark Andrews. Isaiah Likely was getting so many plays. Another player was Joe Mixon. I didn't expect Joe Mixon to rush for 150 yards.
What?
And I thought Joe Mixon was cooked food.
Man,
and another person I thought was cooked food, Ramondre Stevenson. He had a really good rushing day. I was like, Ramondre Stevenson. I thought he was cooked food too. I ain't gonna lie. Hey, the running backs they fighting back. Even Zeke had a decent day. I was like, oh my goodness, what's going on?
Yeah, you can't write him off just yet. The passing game, it seems like we're turning back the clock, going back to old style of football, leaning to the run game. You know what I'm saying? Hey, it's all. I love it. I love seeing running backs.
That's why I went running back in the first 3 rounds. I couldn't take I went 2 running backs the first 3 rounds. I couldn't take that risk.
Shit, I was trying to get Josh Jacobs, but somebody had to get Josh Jacobs, so I went with Marvin Harrison Jr. and I went with DJ Moore. So yeah, man. But I got my boy Jonathan Taylor. That's another thing. Shane Steichen. Hey, utilize him in the passing game more. He can catch the ball. Like I don't get why his running backs. He don't want to utilize his running backs in the passing game. It pisses me off. Like they can catch the ball. Shane Steichen. It's okay. You don't have to just utilize him as a power back. He can catch out the backfield. Damn it, pissing me off. Got Jonathan Taylor. Like, come on. All right. Let's see what else we got. Oh, we got to talk about this. You mentioned the Cowboys. It's all good. The defense is all great, but we got to talk about the number 1 story. It's Deshaun Watson. Like, come on. Look, listen here. We talked about it before in our predictions of the matter of fact, you didn't give your
prediction. We didn't get to the AFC,
but we did mention it before our concerns of Deshaun Watson. And bro, I knew this. I knew there was something fishy about Deshaun Watson. Number one, the shoulder injury. You can tell that he's not all the way 100% with the shoulder injury. I think during the post game interview, somebody pointed out that Deshaun Watson never said that he was 100% healthy. He never said that the
Hmm.
shoulder was 100% healthy. So it's clearly still bothering him. And when you look at his throws, they were just not accurate at all. It looked like it was sailing. Something's going on with Deshaun Watson. I think the shoulder is still messed up.
The best throw he made yesterday was to throw to CD Lamb on the sideline. Threw it right
He's
to
just
him.
not good, man. He's just not good. Like every throw that he makes just is terrible. The
Listen,
mechanics look off. His footwork looks off. Everything looks off.
and you know what it is? This is why I was worried about the Browns, but only their defense. I was like, Deshaun Watson, this guy, he can't he can't read. Like he can't read the
Man.
defense. Like you throw an interesting look at him, he's going to freeze in his tracks for a second. And that second is all you need to get home because that line was terrible too. They was missing, I think they were missing two linemen, I believe.
Yeah, they
And,
were.
and they couldn't really protect for him. We was getting Micah had 11 pressures, and I don't know how many other times. I think they said he was pressured 47% of his dropbacks. That
Damn.
is insane.
Damn. That's a lot.
Yeah,
Wow.
and it was just bad, man. He was flustered. He looked like he couldn't trust his line. His eyes was dropping early. He wasn't really making his reads. He couldn't go through his progressions like that. And he wasn't making accurate passes. He looked bad. Like they couldn't get the run game going, so play action wasn't really working. So I mean, it was just bad.
We gotta also look at the OC because some of the plays. I'm like, yo, can you help a brother out? Although he's a bad individual, a bad brother in that, but can you at least help the brother out a little bit? Like, good God, get some motion going, condense the plays. You're having them drop back.
They actually did use motion quite a bit, but the
They
Cowboys,
did.
we was on it. We was on it.
Oh, y'all were on it.
Hmm.
Damn. Well, it's just some of the stuff I saw that he didn't use motion, but man, well, at the end of the day, Deshaun, hey, they stuck. They stuck. They better hope that he gets charged, because that's the only way they're gonna save face. Because if he don't get charged with something,
You have to eat
they're
that money.
done. It's a wrap because he's arguably the worst QB in the league right now. Like, there's not been
Definitely in the
QBs that
bottom
are worse.
five.
There's not many QBs worse than him. I mean, you can go Daniel Jones. And that's about it. I don't know a worse QB than that, but like, yeah, he's teetering on 31st worst QB, 32nd worst QB in NFL. He might be even worse than that. Because there's probably some backups better than him. I mean, Joe Flacco, he took over this team, and the offense started to be like a top 5 offense.
Honestly, I think he might be worse than some backups. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, he probably is. I mean, you got look at Pittsburgh. I'll take Justin Fields. I would take Russell Wilson over Deshaun Watson any day of the week. Yeah, he's just awful, man. Let's see what we got. What else we got? This is so many games going on. I want to talk about my Packers.
Oh man, it could be worse. It could be worse.
It could be worse. But I gotta talk off rip, because I said this on the live stream. I was live streaming the game. The field was awful.
Yeah,
that was a disgrace. The NFL, I said this before, I'm gonna say it again. One of the most greediest organizations ever. The fact that you had your two football teams travel to a very dangerous area to play a football game, and it wasn't like the field was great at all. It was a soccer field. They were playing on a soccer field. I don't know if you saw, there was a video of the aftermath of the field after the game, and there was holes on the field in the end zone. This is the conditions they were playing under. And another thing, the crowd was trash. I'm gonna say it right now. The crowd was not good. They started getting lit towards the end because it was a close game, but for the first 3 quarters, it was trash. So not only was the field trash, but the crowd was trash. I hate to say it. Sorry, people in Brazil. We was watching the television screen and y'all were not loud at all. It felt like it felt like
The freaking the PA announcer was louder than the crowd.
yeah, you know how like in the Super Bowl, right? A lot sometimes, like especially beginning of the game and towards the middle of the game, the crowd is like kind of dead
Hmm.
because let's
It's a bunch of
the people
neutral parties there.
it's a bunch of folks that are rich, and when you have a bunch of rich people that are getting these tickets and going to the game, they're not going to be like screaming and all this other stuff. They're going to be more reserved. A lot of neutral people there, a lot of corporate people there. So they're not going to be loud. That's what the stadium felt like. That's what the crowd felt like. So it was just an overall disaster. Now let me get to the game. Jordan Love, it's not the game wasn't entirety on Jordan Love. Like I think with Jordan Love, he was missing some easy throws. It's probably about 3 or 4 throws that he would probably want back. And I think the running game we weren't able to get the running game going consistently up until the end. I felt like Matt LaFleur was leaning too heavily on the running game in the beginning of the game, and that's what prompted us to get 2 field goals out of the 2 turnovers that we had. Because remember, Jalen Hurts threw a turnover and then he fumbled the snap.
Hmm.
You have to get a touchdown out of one of those possessions, and we weren't. We went with the field goal on both possessions, and that bit us in the ass. With and then another the
The
defense,
offensive
bro.
line, man, good grief,
That
y'all
that was
played
another the
bad.
offense. We
Man.
couldn't stop Jalen Carter. We could not stop Jalen Carter. He was a monster. And then the defense, bro. Like
Let me tell
how?
you something. Number 23 on your
Jair.
defense, he was getting cooked the
He
whole
was a
game.
good dude. He was a good
He
dude.
was getting cooked.
He was a good dude. You man, 2020 Jair, nobody was getting a game off of 2020 Jair. We in 2024. I don't know this guy.
Mm.
He's a completely different player. You were a good dude. Now you're cooked food because what AJ Brown was doing to you, I get it. You got to pick. But damn it. But damn it. We need you to cover him consistently, lock him up, and he couldn't do it. He was getting cooked every single time. It was embarrassing. He couldn't tackle, he couldn't cover. He was one of the worst Packer players, Packer defenders on the field.
Mm.
Now, I told you about my 2 safeties. I like McKinney, I like Bullard. Both of them were hooping. Both of them did their thing. I thought Quay Walker, he had some good moments as well. But that D line and them freaking corners, y'all were useless as hell. Y'all were freaking cones out. Man, different year, same result. We cannot sack the quarterback and we can't stop the run. The only time we were able to stop the QB design runs from Jalen Hurts, but we couldn't stop Saquon Barkley. We couldn't sack Jalen Hurts. I'm like, damn, Lucas Van Ness. God damn, like, bro, where were you at? He's a bust. He's a bust. He can't even start for the team. He can't even start for the team. Like, are you serious right now? We drafted you in the top 15 and you can't even start for this team on the D line. He's a bust. He's a bust. He can't get no pressure. He can't tackle anybody. He can't get any tackles for loss. He's a bust. I'm just gonna say it right now. He's a bust. But it's the first week. I get it's the first week. The field was trash. There was a clip where Xavier McKinney could have possibly either picked one of Jalen Hurts' passes or deflected it. It was towards the end zone, but Xavier McKinney slipped. He slipped
Mm.
on the field. And that was one of the things that was happening a lot for the Packers. we were slipping a lot. Jordan Love was slipping a lot. Receivers were slipping a lot. It was just all over the place, and it kept pissing me off. And then the amount of flags. God damn. I get
That
it's the
game wasn't
first
over till
game.
about 12 o'clock.
I get it's the first game, but damn. Be disciplined. Y'all are NFL teams. Both of you guys went to the playoffs. And you're acting like you're one of the worst teams in the league. You're acting like you're the Raiders. You're acting like you're the Patriots right now. You're not that bad. Why is there 15 flags from the Packers? 15 flags? Damn. That pissed me off, bro. That frustrated the hell out of me so much. Oh, man. We should have won that game, but that's all I wanted to say. All that matter. That's all I wanted to say. But yeah. What other games were there? What other games? I'm trying to think. We already talked about Houston. We already talked about. So Trevor Lawrence, the Jaguars. I mentioned it a little bit, but I want to mention it again. Press Taylor. Oh man, different year, same story. Press Taylor,
he's not cooking.
He's a war criminal. Like they were doing a good job in the first half, and then the second half they just stopped throwing the ball. Trevor Lawrence, the offensive line, they weren't holding up. The pass protection was awful in the second half. Like the final drive, I think it was the final drive. I think Trevor Lawrence may have got sacked twice in a row. It was bad.
I can look that up.
He was getting pressured a lot, I think, in the fourth quarter. It was bad because they weren't able to do much. I was watching the game on Sunday Ticket because FanDuel gives you a free trial. So that was cool. And I was watching the game, and yeah, that offensive line was not holding up at all. Cam Robinson, he stole money. All the other offensive linemen, Brandon Sheriff, where were you at? All the other offensive line, where are you guys at? Like, you just let Trevor Lawrence get hit all the time. And
yeah, he got sacked. 2nd and 10 and 3rd and 14, he got sacked.
Yeah.
That last drive.
Yeah, they couldn't do much. Christian Kirk, he was dropping passes in key moments. Travis Etienne, he was screwing up as well. Like, it was just a bunch of mistakes. I'm not even going to put this solely on Trevor Lawrence because, again, like a lot of the stuff he can't control. The play calling, you cannot control. Guys dropping passes, you cannot control. Getting sacked, you cannot control if the pass rush is coming in your face after like 2 seconds. You cannot control that. It's just a bunch of stuff about the Jaguars that I came to the season concerned, and it just showed itself again. Even with the Dolphins offense not even playing well, like Tua, he was missing passes. He was making the wrong reads, and yet they still won. Because the Jaguars OC and offensive line just weren't doing their job. And that's just what it is. That's just what it is. And that game, boy, oh boy. More excuses for Trevor Lawrence. That's all it was. More excuses for Trevor Lawrence. It's just so weird how like every year it's just the same story. Every year. It just blows my mind. What else we got?
I will say,
yeah,
I am thoroughly impressed with my rookies on the O-line, Tyler Guyton and Cooper Beebe. Cooper Beebe, man, you didn't allow a single pressure against the Browns. Your first game as a center ever. Gotta salute you. And Tyler Guyton, you had one heck of a player on the menu with Myles Garrett, Defensive Player of the Year, Myles Garrett, that is. And you only gave up 1 sack and 4 pressures? I'll take that. I'll take it. I thought you was gonna get killed, but I'll take it. You ain't die out there. You ain't die. So I'll salute. I'll salute.
Y'all did a good job protecting Dak, and all Dak had to do was manage the game. The defense played well, and Dak, he managed the game. I don't think did he turn the ball over?
Nope.
He didn't. He did his job. He didn't have to do much. The running game was doing well. Jake Ferguson did get hurt, but
Yeah,
it didn't really
they said
matter.
he'll be out. They said he can play hurt, but they probably won't play him hurt.
Yeah, Jerry Jones be tweaking. He like, yeah, Jake Ferguson, he'll come. I think he said something to the realm. I was listening to NFL radio. He said something. Jerry Jones was saying something to the realm like Jake Ferguson could come back this week. I'm like, what?
He better not.
I'm like, what? Okay, GM. Okay, GM.
I want to get your thoughts on, since this is kind of a high, I want to get your thoughts on the Dak contract.
Oh man,
He just got the
60 mil.
extension before on Sunday, right before the game, early in the morning. 240 mil over 4 years. Yeah,
4 years.
4 years, 240 million, 231 guaranteed.
Mm.
I mean, I know I'm a Cowboy, so I love Dak. So I wasn't mad he got paid. I think he deserved the money. But I want to say, how do you feel about this deal? Coming from a neutral / Cowboy hater perspective.
I think Dak is a really good QB. I mean, he finished runner up in MVP, so because of that, he deserved his money. I just think there's we know the ceiling of the Cowboys with Dak, and with that much money, look, it's just like with Tony Romo. Like they're gonna be good, they're gonna be competitive every year, but they're never gonna. Y'all are never gonna reach the ultimate goal, which is winning the Super Bowl. And that's just the reality you have to live with. And I hope you're okay with that because you're not going to be able to. Jerry Jones is not going to surround Dak with the talent that he needs because he's going to look at the contract and say, "Hey, I gave you all that money. Be Superman. I gave you all that money. Aren't you worth 60 million a year?" So it's just another excuse for Jerry Jones to put the blame on Dak. That's really what it is. He gives him all that money and he's saying, "All right, now go cook." Because he's not gonna go try to trade for somebody significant to help out Dak. I mean, he did for Amari Cooper, but that's before Dak got his big payday. He drafted CD, that was great, but he's gonna go to the draft. They're gonna utilize the draft. And you already know this. You already know what they try to do. They're not gonna try to build a contender.
I'll say this one thing.
Yeah.
If this Mike Zimmer defense is what I think it is, or is going to remain how they played this past week for the entire season, including the playoffs possibly,
Yeah.
I think our chances of going further than the divisional round exponentially increases. And I'm gonna tell you this. Let me just tell you one reason why. It's not because we're just better. No, it's not even that. It's the fact that all last year,
Yeah.
in the playoffs, it happened with the 49ers, the Lions, the Chiefs, the Ravens, the Texans. Well, not really the Texans that much, but those teams that advanced in the playoffs, quite a few of them, they didn't start off well offensively, but they could rely on their defense for a few drives to be like, okay, until we get in the rhythm, I'm gonna need y'all to hold it down. Like just stop the bleeding. Just don't get cooked out there. Cowboys, our offense started off shaky. They give up a touchdown immediately. No resistance.
Okay.
So if you can at least give the offense a chance to recover, because most teams are not firing. They're not firing out the gate immediately in the playoffs. It's just not happening. Because it's a whole different type of ball game compared to the regular season. And a lot of teams in week 17, they weren't even really playing for real. But yeah, if you can just give your team, your offense, just let them give them some time to figure it out, your chances of winning the game exponentially increase.
Okay. Well, Dak, he needed to do a good job of managing the game. Better do a good job managing the game. No turnovers. Don't turn the ball over. Keep the ball out of harm's way because in the playoffs, we already know them drives are different. Points are more
Few and far
important than ever.
between.
Each drive, each snap, each possession is far more important than ever. Can he manage the game to a win? I don't know, especially with the running game. I know the running game was pretty solid against the Browns, but against the 49ers, against the Detroit Lions, against the upper echelon teams, I don't know. I don't know if Zeke and
I don't know that Lions defense. I wasn't impressed.
really, I mean, they only allowed like 20, what was it, 20 points?
Puka got hurt mid-game.
He did, but it is the Rams. It is Sean McVay. It is Matthew Stafford. Hey, Matthew Stafford. Oh my
He
God!
threw that pick in the red zone. I was like, "Oh, you can't be serious."
Yeah, but the drive where he scored late in the fourth quarter, that was surgical.
Yeah,
I see why a lot
pure
of
buddy
folks,
ball between him and Cooper Kupp, like 2021 again.
I see why a lot of folks, a lot of former QBs, a lot of people that study film really like Matthew Stafford. I was watching film. I was like, this is a QB. This is what a QB looks like, because he was dialing it up. I was looking at him. I was like, this is poetry. I look at his film and then I go look at Jaden Daniels. I'm like, oh, it's night and day. Like, oh, after I saw the play where it was Jaden Daniels off the play action, and he wasn't confident in his eyes when Terry McLaurin beat his defender towards the middle of the field. I was like, I got to turn this off. I can't watch this anymore because this is just awful film. Like he's pissing me off. That's one I see why a lot of these quarterbacks get pissed off when they watch just bad QB play, like Peyton Manning, because it's just like, dude, like it's right there. Playing the QB position is difficult, but there's just some things where I'm like, yo, you play football all your life. You play QB all your life. Like, how are you not just pull the trigger? And Jaden Daniels, I just had to turn it off. I was like, I gotta watch a real QB play, like Matthew Stafford. I gotta watch him play because I couldn't do it.
Question: how did you do on your predictions? I went 11-5.
That's a good point. Okay, so let me see. So I
The games I got wrong were I picked the Packers to win foolishly. I picked the Jets to win. I picked the Cardinals to upset.
Yeah.
I believe I picked the Bengals to win, and they got upset. I picked the Falcons
Cowboys
to win.
Yeah, you picked the Falcons. Yeah.
And the last team that lost, I think that was it. Yeah, I think that was it. Yeah.
So
I picked the Cowboys to win, actually.
So yeah, you did. Yep. So the pick. All right. So my picks. Let me see here. I think I'm. Let me see if I have the screenshot with me. Damn, I don't. I mean, I remember who I picked. Let me look at the schedule. So I picked the Vikings to win. They won. I picked the Bills to win. They won. I picked the Chiefs to win. They won. I picked the Bears to win. They won. I picked the Dolphins to win. They won. I picked the Texans.
Your picks this week. You picked the Chiefs, Falcons.
I picked the Chargers. That's 7 wins. I picked Seattle. That's 8 wins. I picked the Lions. That's 9 wins. I picked the 49ers. That's 10. So I was right on 10 games.
You picked the Commanders? Why?
Yeah, I picked the Commanders because listen, I was going for the hype, man.
Oh man.
As a rookie QB, you don't know what to expect. It's a new team. I was thinking, you know what? Maybe they might shock some people.
Panthers? Oh no.
Yeah, I picked the Panthers. I know. I was trying to go for the upset divisional game. Bryce Young, new offense, got a new receiver, upgraded on the offensive line. I was thinking, maybe they could upset the Saints. So 10 So I was right about 10 games. So that means how many games were
10 and
there?
6. I believe it was 16 games.
So that's
10 and 6.
yeah, 10 and 6. I mean that's not too bad.
You picked some interesting teams for upsets.
what was your record?
I went 11 and 5.
11 and 5. Okay, so you got me on one. Got me on one. It's all good. We're gonna bounce back next week. We're gonna bounce back next week. So yeah, 10 to 6. I'll take that. First week of the season. First week of the season is always unpredictable.
That is
So
true.
second week, I think I'll do a little bit better. But yeah, man. Oh, Thursday night. So
Yeah, I'm about to say Thursday
who
game.
you have for Thursday? I have the Dolphins.
Oh man, if the freaking running backs aren't healthy, I might be leading Bills.
Bills. You think there's gonna be a significant drop off from HN and Mostert to Jalen Wright?
And Jeff Wilson, yes,
Really?
mostly
Wow.
the Jeff Wilson part. Let's see, who's favorite is here? The Dolphins are favored at 2.5
Yeah, I think they're at
at
home.
home.
Yeah.
The home team usually gets 3 points.
Mm.
I don't know. I might
That's,
go Bills with the upset.
you don't think the defense for the Dolphins will make it difficult for Josh Allen, especially the fact that he doesn't have Stephon Diggs anymore. And you have to look at the defense for the Bills. It has become significantly worse. No Jordan
The
Poyer, no
Bills,
Micah
they
Hyde.
did like Razul Douglas and Christian Benford. They actually had a really good games. All things
Yeah,
considered.
yeah. I mean, Rasul Douglas, that's my guy. He's gonna play well, but it's about everybody else. No Matt Milano. I mean,
That is
it's
true.
it's gonna be. I know it's
I mean,
Tua. I know it's Tua. Tua can be a bit boneheaded.
my gut says Bills, my brain says Dolphins. Let's see which one I'm gonna go with. Usually they
I'm
say go with your gut. I
I'm
might
gonna
have
just
to
go
go
with the
with the
Dolphins.
Dolphins. I might go Dolphins.
I'm gonna go Dolphins
I
on that
just
one.
think if they need to go band for band, I trust Tyreek and Waddle
Yeah,
over Khalil Shakir. I don't even know if Dalton Kincaid, is he hurt or something?
that I do not know.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. Dolphins.
Go Dolphins. Yeah, yeah. Although, I mean, the Bills have had the Dolphins number for a
That is
while
true.
now, but I just think they've lost so much.
They
They
do.
nearly
They do.
lost to the Cardinals.
Yeah.
They nearly lost to the Cardinals. And that's another thing. Like, yo, what's going on with Marvin Harrison, bro? Why you not throwing the ball to Marvin Harrison? I know he runs kind of funny, but that shouldn't matter. Like he's the fourth pick. He's 6'4". He's talented. He can run routes. Throw him the ball. Like, what we doing? He was on my fantasy team. He only had one point.
Mm.
Freaking made me mad. Like Marvin Harrison Jr. only has 1 point. Do you know who his dad is? Do you know what he was in college?
If only Kyler could have got the ball on that drive, he was wide open. Only if the protection would have held up.
They lucky I didn't see the film because I would have came on here and I would have been breaking it down. I would have been ranting. But you're lucky I didn't see the film because boy oh boy, there is no reason why he was only able to catch the ball once. Man, with Kyler Murray as quarterback, are you serious? Greg, what is it? Greg Dortch,
Dortch, yeah.
whatever his name is, caught the ball, was targeted 6 times. That small wide receiver who could barely get in a roster, caught the ball was targeted 6 times. Are you kidding me? But Marvin Harrison Jr. was only targeted like once or twice. Get out of here, bro. Get out of here. This is bold.
To be fair, Marvin, he did drop one of them. He did drop a pass.
He did one pass, bro. One pass. I mean, he's a rookie. He's gonna drop a pass. Jesus Christ. He's
I don't know,
6'4".
generational prospect. You better not drop no wide open pass.
I think one of the things to conclude the
Neighbors ain't dropping no
podcast,
passes.
I want to say this because I think week 1 showed us that we need to, just because somebody labels these players, like these rookies, as like a generational prospect, does not mean that they all of a sudden are going to come into the league and light it on fire. We need to stop labeling these players as generational prospect and just say we just believe that they're going to be great players one day. How
I
about
agree.
that?
I don't know.
And
I don't understand how people get the generational label when it hasn't even been a generation since the last generational prospect.
and then I want to also talk about the Ohio State wide receivers. It's not looking too good for you guys right now. Garrett Wilson, he couldn't get his game off too much. Jackson Smith-Njigba, like, hey,
Oh,
Mr. Potential Man, Mr. Potential Man. I thought you were better than Garrett Wilson. I thought you were better than Chris Olave. Where you at, man? I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting for the breakout season, because what I saw last game, Tyler Lockett was getting more receiving yards than you and more targets. DK Metcalf was getting more targets and receiving yards than you. You still are the third wheel, and we in a new season, and you have a new OC, Mr. Potential Man. Where you at? It sounds good. It sounds good in theory, but I need to see it to believe it. That's all I gotta
Terry
say on that
McLaurin,
matter.
he was a ghost out there.
And oh yeah, my final salute. We gonna start doing it. We're gonna do a segment. Who we salute? Who we salute?
Okay.
We're not gonna say who we shouting out. We're gonna say who we salute. Justin Fields. You know, I was a big guy. I was a, I was a
He
big
tried to get back on the boat. Nah. You
so
jumped off.
this is what I will say. This is what I will say. I still think that Justin Fields, you can't look. He can't be the driving force of your team,
Okay.
but you can win games with him if he doesn't put the ball in harm's way. You do more of a conservative approach, and that's what they did with the Steelers. I mean, Arthur Smith, they didn't do too much. He was able to get the ball to George Pickens a couple of times, which was good. Even downfield a couple of times. The running game was really good. Like Najee Harris was looking like Najee Harris when he first came to the league. He doesn't look like a trash running back. He doesn't look like a mediocre running back. Jalen Warren was doing a couple of good things. I gotta give credit to where it's due. I gotta salute Justin Fields for getting his first win as a Steelers quarterback, and he's going to be starting again next week. Russell Wilson's going to be on the bench. All I gotta say is, Justin Fields, prove me wrong, man.
Honestly,
Prove me
not a bad
wrong.
matchup either for him.
Prove me wrong. Just prove me wrong. Prove everybody wrong, and show all these haters that if you're put in a good environment, that you can succeed. Shout out to Justin Fields.
I'm gonna do my salute to Jameson Williams.
Yeah.
He's finally showing glimpses of that player that we thought he was going to be when he got drafted, and he had a really good game week. He was the number one receiver out there on the field for the Lions, and it wasn't even Amon Roberts; it was James Williams. So yeah, shout out to him. It took a little bit,
Yeah.
some turbulence on the way, but we might find J-Mo Hive. We might finally be here.
Yeah. I wanted him in my fantasy team. See, I messed up. See,
Yeah.
I thought he was going to be in round 11, but he ended up getting picked up. I picked D-Hop, which was a mistake because I thought Jamo was going to be in round 11, but he ended up getting drafted in round 10. Somebody reached for him, and ultimately I wasn't able to get him. I thought he would potentially have a breakout season. He'd be like my Nico Collins, but somebody had to grab him. Yeah, I'm a little sick about it. But shout out to Jameson Williams. Don't do too much of that, because you're still the op. You're still an enemy of the Packers. So don't do too much of that. But salute to you, man. Salute to you. Any other final words before we end the podcast?
Nope, I think that's it. I'm just glad football is back.
I'm glad football is back too, and we're gonna give our predictions later in the week, and we're gonna talk about a lot of other stuff because obviously you got college football, and some things are going down with Shador Sanders that
Colorado, boy, oh
do-
boy.
doesn't look too well. Just a little sneak peek of what to expect later down
Don't
the road.
Oh, good boy.
My boy Cam Ward, yeah, you'll see. We'll talk about it later. But thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment down below, hit the notification bell, follow the socials as well. And we will see you all on the next episode of the Courtside View Podcast. Thank you guys for watching and peace.
Salute.
All right. Cool.